As the saying goes, last the best of all the gang. Joe and Taylor and Marquet did such a great job with the information that they presented that there is not a whole lot of pieces left for me to pick up, but I will try my best. I want to talk to you a little bit about building permits and specifically how those are in relation to your business license, because that's what we're really after is a business license. A couple of the things that I hope to discuss with you guys. Does your business license require a building permit? What type of permit could I be looking at? What are some of the documents needed for the different types of permits? What does the review process look like for obtaining a building permit? And what's the role of the CRT meeting in this? How can this benefit you? And then maybe just answer any questions that I've left unanswered. So it was mentioned before that, as you're seeking out some real estate for your business license, there's a fair chance that you're going to fall in love with a space, and as you're walking through that space, it's just going to fit it's just going to fit the mold, and it's turnkey ready. You're just ready to move in and operate. Marquet mentioned the remodel of maybe sprucing the place up a little bit with some paint and some flooring, maybe some decor on the inside. Those types of things aren't going to need a building permit. So in those instances, it's unfortunate that you're not going to be able to work with me and my team. We're still available and happy to help if any questions do arise, but we kind of get cut out of the equation in that scenario. There are going to be some other scenarios, though, where we are actually removing a wall or changing some floor plans, adding a window, adding some doors, the electrical outlets that need to get thrown in there. We need to add a restroom or a drinking fountain, things of those nature. This space just really fits us, but it'd fit us a little bit better if we had X, Y, or Z. Well, that's when the building department gets involved, and that's when building permits become required with the associated inspections. What type of stuff should you be preparing for if it's determined that you need to get a building permit? I'm kind of thrown off here because, as you'll see with my next slide, I should have reversed these slides, but that's okay. As we're going through that application process, it's going to be pretty basic information. We want to know about the property ownership. We want to know the address. We want to know what type of work you intend on doing. We want to know to what scale of work. How big of a project is this? And that's typically going to be based off of valuation, size, that type of stuff. When we are obtaining building permits for a business license, those building permits are going to require state licensed contractors, whether it's a plumbing contractor, an electrical contractor, mechanical, or building. As you visit with your individual contractors, you may be surprised that your contractor that you've selected is actually licensed in multiple areas and can tackle a lot of these same feats under their one license. Or you might find that this contractor only has one license, and you might have to use a general contractor and their subcontractors to be able to get your work done. Construction plans. Construction plans is a tough one to describe because there's a lot of variables there. Do they need to be drawn by a professional architect? Do they need to be drawn by professional engineers? Well, it kind of depends on the scope of work there. If your business is starting from the ground up, quite literally, and you anticipate a brand new building, then the answer is always going to be yes. You do need an architect. You do need engineers. If your business is a simple remodel where we might just be adding a couple outlets or something kind of small scale, if we have a retail business that we are introducing another retail business, but we just want to reconfigure some of the space, there's a good chance that we could get away with having some construction plans, but they may not need to be designed by a licensed architect. And so there are a lot of variables there. And that's where we come in to be able to help you answer those questions. That's where the CRT comes in to be able to help answer those questions. And this is going to be very, very similar to what Marquet mentioned with the business license application process. You're going to go to onestop.ogdencity.com. You're going to make an account, a login, and then you're going to select. You're going to be given several options of what kind of permit you need. Do you need a new build? Are you starting from the ground up? Do you need a simple electrical? Do you need a simple plumbing permit? You're going to be able to see those options and select the most appropriate one. Again, if you have questions, let us know. We're happy to walk you through this. Once you've made the selection of what type of application you need, it's going to be it's going to walk you through it. It's going to be pretty simple information that as you walk through there, okay, this is where I'm going to put the ownership information. This is where I'm going to put my contractor information. This is where I'm going to upload the plans that I need. But again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. We're here to help you. Once you've made application, again, this is going to be very, very similar to the business license process. We're going to receive that application and the supporting documents that go along with it. And the very first thing we're going to do with it is we're going to review it for completeness. Before we even waste your time in reviewing these plans, we want to make sure that we have everything we need up front to be able to do a solid review of these plans. We don't want you to wait a week, 6 days, 7 days, however long. We don't want you to wait just to get the feedback of, hey, I like the idea and I'd really like to review these plans, but I'm missing this document to be able to conduct a complete plan review. So the very first thing we're going to do is make sure that we have what we need to conduct that plan review. How long does a review take? It varies, dependent on the scope of work. If you're building that brand new building, there's a chance it could take 10 days, business days, to get that plan review and receive those comments back. If you're installing an outlet, we could do that in a few hours, right? Just in the order that they come. There's a good chance you could have your permit by the end of the day. So it just varies. Very similar to what Marquet mentioned with the business license review. At the end of this review, you're either going to have a corrections report where we're going to spell out any concerns that we have, or you're going to end up with a building permit, one or the other. So what's the concept review team meeting? What's their role in this? What to expect, the ins and the outs, the expectations on both ends. Joe did a fantastic job explaining this. But our goal is just to answer the hows and the whys and walk you through the process. If you were to come and ask me, Christian, what is the exact process of going through this development from start to finish? There's not a simple answer to that. There's a lot of variables there because each one of your situations is going to be unique. And we have a process that's going to meet your uniqueness and be able to work with you guys to make sure that you're successful. Does it make sense to apply for your business license or your building permit first? There's not a right answer to that. Those are some of the things that we need to get to and decide. In some instances, it's going to make more sense to apply for your building permit first. In other instances, it's going to make sense to apply for your business license first. And so this is a great opportunity to have those conversations, and not just with business license, not just with building, but with planning and engineering and fire. We're willing to meet with everyone, just like Joe mentioned. We're willing to meet with everyone, but the reality is that the better prepared you are for this meeting, with the more information and the more specific details that you have, the more specific the answers are going to be, and the more details that we can provide you. A couple of the things Joe mentioned, I'll just reiterate here. Things like size of the space, square footage, an address. Where are we looking? Have we narrowed it down to a neighborhood, or have we narrowed it down to an actual building that we're looking at? What was that business or space used for before, and what do we intend to use it for now? Those are some key points to have available as you're coming to those CRT meetings. Just like Joe and Marquet mentioned, we're here to help. We're in person down at the Muni building up on the second floor. As Joe mentioned, we've got a lot of staff there that are eager to help you and talk with you and walk you through this process. You can go online and see all kinds of resources at ogdencity.gov. You can give us a call. You can email us. We want to hear from you, and we want to hear from you early. We don't want there to be surprises down the road. We want you to feel confident moving through this process. Just some of the final tips and takeaways here, as my colleagues have mentioned, and I'll just mention one more time. Our goal is to function as a team. It's not engineering versus planning as much as they like to take jabs at each other. It's not business license versus building. We're here to function as a team. And the CRT is a good way of how we do that. There is collaboration going on behind the scenes outside of that meeting, but this is a prime example. The CRT is a prime example of that collaboration. And again, timing matters because there's not a set answer on what that process looks like. Different scenarios are going to require different timing. And then communication. Early communication often is going to help get us through this process and make sure you guys are successful. And with that, I think I will turn the time back over to Julio. So thank you very much for your time.